great to be here. I want to learn about that migraine thing. I've been battling a migraine for the last day and a half, so if I slur my words, it's not what you think. So, I'll start with this, because I find this very interesting. If you Google Susan Mboya, which I never do, this is what people tell me. If you Google Susan Mboya, they say I'm a philanthropist. That's the way I'm described. I've worked for corporations my whole life. I'm paid for what I do, but I'm called a philanthropist, and I'll explain why. So what is philanthropy? Philanthropy in the traditional sense is giving. It's not a word that I like to use, because philanthropy is one way. It's giving, but you don't get anything back. It works, but it doesn't last. You do it once, and you have to keep doing it to keep the impact. And it's giving fish versus teaching someone how to fish. There's been an evolution over the last several years from philanthropy, traditional philanthropy, charitable donations. So if you think, 10, 15, 20 years ago, it was all, as corporates, it was all about writing a check. Usually it was to someone in your local community, and it was to impact a project or a program or something that we can all see, touch, etc. Then we moved up a little bit to corporate social responsibility, CSR. That was big for a while. Multiple partnerships throughout the year. So sometimes you do a project and it would be a 2-year project, and that was the evolution. Partnering for impact. More and more corporates getting together with, whether it's civil society, government, other corporates, to have an even larger impact. All of these are about the corporate giving and not expecting anything back. The focus now, and what I'm going to be talking about for the next few minutes, is sustainability leadership and sustainability as a business strategy. So what is sustainability? In the business sense, a sustainable corporation is one that creates profit for its shareholders, protecting the environment, improving the lives of those with whom it interacts. What does that mean exactly? Can anyone tell me what the word Ubuntu means? It's one of the most difficult words to explain. Anyone want to venture a guess or have your own? There are so many different descriptions. These are mine. My various ones. I don't see any hands up. Okay. It's a difficult thing to describe, but basically it means, when I win, you win. One person becomes human through other people. This mutual dependency or interdependency, the common good of good itself. So I said, I'm not describing this very well, so I will look for somebody who is eloquent. And I found this is really an excellent explanation of what Ubuntu is. It's a recognition that we're all bound together in ways that can be invisible to the eye, that there's a oneness to humanity, that we achieve ourselves by sharing ourselves with others and caring for those around us. Now, it sounds all very warm and fuzzy, but Ubuntu actually has a very big impact and meaning for business. What is Ubuntu for business? Ubuntu for business, I say, is businesses, and particularly, for those of us in the fast-moving consumer goods, when you're selling something that is not an essential good, then the businesses and the communities in which we are mutually dependent. If I'm trying to sell something that you don't have to have, we need you to want to have whatever my product is. We need you to be able to afford whatever my product is. And so it is in the interests of the business that the community thrives. And that's why I talk about Ubuntu for business. Another way of describing it is inclusive business. Businesses need to structure themselves in ways where the very business model, through your business model, you ensure that the community benefits, so that as the company thrives, the community thrives. And I'll talk about three approaches to that. One is providing access to opportunities. So really from the ground up, saying, how do I ensure that people within the community have the opportunities that they need to bring themselves up? Empowering communities, providing tools and support for various individuals within the community to help them to thrive. And enabling communities, and I think that's something that we often don't think about as businesses, but where we're uniquely qualified to provide support for communities. Businesses are good at processes, systems. We invest millions and millions of dollars in becoming efficient. How do we translate some of that efficiency to communities, to community work, to community programs? Sometimes that can be even more valuable than any money that we can give. So I'll give some examples. One of my favorite, the Zawadi Africa Education Program, providing access to education. We provide scholarships for girls, high school girls, to come to school and study in the United States. We teach leadership, we teach values throughout the 4 years. And the idea is that they will then go back to their communities. These are girls coming from very disadvantaged communities in Africa. They'll go back to their communities and uplift the communities that they come from. And hopefully if we get to the end, I'll show you a video that shows that happening. Empowerment, financial inclusion, like a Banking in Women program. This is a program where we put money into the community, into a round robin, if you will. Community women lend, borrow from each other, and become financially independent. This is another great program, the Mars, the Sustainable Cocoa Initiative by the company Mars, that enables or helps women in poor communities to become independent farmers, teaches them techniques, and provides them with startup capital as well. This is actually a program from my former company, Coca-Cola, enabling communities by teaching them supply chain. This was actually enabling a government in Tanzania, teaching them how to improve their supply chain so that they would be able to get medicine to the communities when the communities need it. Things like demand forecasting, simple things that we take for granted. Teaching them that you don't wait until the rainy season comes and then start shipping the malaria medicine. When the rainy season is about to start, you ship the medicine before and use the rain as an indicator that it is time to ship. We've also done cold supply chain, refrigeration, maintenance. I think Coca-Cola knows more about fridges than just about anybody. Governments, again, were having a lot of issues with breakdown of the refrigerators that held vaccines. And so the company enabled them by sending technicians to teach them how to repair their refrigerators. So you want to make sustainability a part of your business strategy. And I know that, I think a lot of us are very uncomfortable, and I'll be talking a lot in the next few minutes about, the fact that this sustainability is like two-way philanthropy. It's philanthropy where you actually get something back. And a lot of us aren't comfortable with that, but that is the only way to be sustainable in our efforts in the communities. We want to embed and integrate our business sustainability into the business strategy. You want a deep integration and embedding of the sustainability into your initiatives. Focus on integrating sustainability planning into the business planning process, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. Having workshops to think through how to do this. Actually, as you do workshops as part of your business planning, including in there what are the sustainability practices that you're going to include. And metrics, ensuring that as we incorporate sustainability into our business plans, we have ways to measure and assess whether the sustainability efforts are actually working. Social impact and stakeholder value. You want to ensure that you have the broadest social impact, so you're looking at initiatives that are relevant and impactful to the communities, and that have significant stakeholder value. You want to make a public commitment. When you, with your results, you announce them publicly. You should be announcing as well your sustainability, the results of your sustainability efforts. And tell your story. Again, something that makes us sometimes a little uncomfortable, feel like we're beating our own drum. But it actually has a benefit. The more companies talk about their sustainability efforts, as I'm doing, I'm not talking on behalf of a company here, but the more people hear about this, the more this becomes ingrained in the way that we do business, and that is good for everyone. That is good for communities. Secure your social license to operate. So how do you embed sustainability into your business strategy? So creating an integrated sustainability framework. This is very much, now we're going to get into P&G. I've tailored this to P&G, okay? And we have to start, strategy has to have a house, right? You can't have a strategy without a house. So I had to make a house, okay? So it's real, yeah? Sustainability strategy is real. It actually has a house. Building a sustainability framework should be integrated into your business planning process. So everything from your destination setting, defining the opportunities, strategy development, implementation, all the steps that you take in your business planning process should include the sustainability element, and they should be done together, not separately, not in parallel, together. Identify the most relevant macro forces. What are the things that are most relevant within the community that you are, that are most impactful within the community that you are, and that are most likely to create positive change in your community? Look at what key competitors are doing. Strategy is about differentiating yourself. You want to have a sustainability strategy that differentiates you from others. The global strategic framework, you want to have, the strategic framework for sustainability has two aspects. It has a business aspect and a societal impact aspect. I apologize, I need some tissue. Does anyone have the after effects of, thank you, the after effects of a migraine. Thank you. Okay. So the global strategic framework, the wheel guides value creation. The business aspect of your sustainability strategy. Your sustainability strategy should drive and improve and drive revenues for your business. Again, something that we are sometimes uncomfortable with, but that is a fact. Societal impact. You want, of course, to have an impact on society. The 6 pillars, again, strategy, you have to have pillars, again, P&G. You have your business impact, the financial impact to your brand value, risk valuation, and then what is the societal impact of your sustainability strategy? Many of our CSR efforts we focus around the risk to the company. Where can we minimize risk to the company? An example, for if I'm somebody who is using a lot of water, then I focus my efforts there, and that's fine, from a CSR standpoint. But the bigger opportunity is having that broader focus on that creates actual business value, playing offense versus playing defense. You want to prioritize your initiatives. Acronym, you've got to have an acronym, the VCM. So look at the various aspects, again, including what is the impact to the business, what is the impact to society, and prioritize your initiatives that way. Apply the 75-25 rule. For large business, about 75% of your efforts should be at that sort of broader, strategic, sustainable level, things that actually you integrate into and impact your business. And 25%, because still you're in a community, you still want the community to feel that they have a way to influence what happens in your sustainability strategy. So you still want to have a little bit of your funds or your efforts at the local community level. Develop a scorecard. You track and measure the impact. Are you actually achieving what you set out to achieve? Remember, we talked about this being a public commitment. A public commitment, you want to be sure that you are measuring and able to say, confidently, that this is what we have achieved, this is what we have given back to the community. Partnering allows us to accelerate and scale our initiatives. Public-private partnerships are found to be extremely, extremely powerful. With the private sector bringing funding and capacity building, the public sector driving with policy, infrastructure, and enabling us to scale, and civil society actually implements a lot of these initiatives. So in summary, you want to establish those deep roots, long-term sustainable relationships in communities, identify community-focused solutions for unmet consumer needs. You want programs that are catalytic, that are going to, where your efforts are going to build other efforts, or are going to drive additional efforts. An example would be, women's economic empowerment. Programs that we have done have actually then been taken up by the government. That is a catalytic approach where something that we were able to do on a relatively small scale becomes a national program and then really has a dramatic impact. The goal: sustainable, healthy, thriving communities and businesses, improving lives by committing resources and partnering with like-minded organizations. Inclusive business is, by its very nature, sustainable. So I'm going to try and play a video here. It's on the internet, quality isn't great, and it may or may not play.
Be prepared to go through a journey, and be prepared to fall, but business on that, every single time. They say if you don't plan, you plan to fail. But as you grow up, you end up being very confident in yourself, able to express yourself, and when your parents see you excelling in that, then they don't worry. It's not always that you start on a strong footing. Sometimes you don't, but it doesn't mean that you start there.
This event that is being run by the Zawadi Africa Education Fund is a mentoring event. This was actually conceived and created by Zawadi scholars, so young women who have been taken to college, studied through the Zawadi Africa scholarships, and who have come back and themselves want to give something back to society.
So what you tell yourself, you're the one who's going to set the standard of how anyone else is going to look at you. Yeah? That's the bottom line I want us to have about this.
They have created a mentorship program that targets young women in high school. And the idea is to help young women in high school understand, A, what kinds of opportunities there are for them going forward. And also talk to them very candidly and very frankly about some of the issues that young women of that age face.
For a very long time, they had the morning show for about 6 years. They had the NTV This Morning, right? And I went there and they wanted me to produce it and everything. And it's hard. And it's daily, and it's every day, it's 3 hours live, and it's chaos, it's hectic. We are the longest running show on NTV.
It's a privilege for us girls. You've known that we are not rejected in the community.
What Zawadi is hoping to gain out of this is to reduce the incidences of high school pregnancies, to reduce the incidences of young girls dropping out of school, to encourage young women to take their studies very seriously, and for them to understand that if they do that, the future is very bright.
Nobody wants to chase away a bright student. So when I realized that you have to work hard so that you can change your life from the beginning, I knew now everything, whatever I wanted to become was on my hands.
It has brought us to a challenge that we as girls, we should work hard and we can be the leaders of tomorrow.
We have Zawadi here in front of us, giving us hope that if we succeed and we don't have the school fees, we'll be supported, we'll be sponsored. So what does that mean? You just need to work very, very hard to achieve.
The choice of a guest of honor today was not a coincidence. Zawadi was looking for somebody who really epitomized the Zawadi story, which was that somebody who, in and of themselves, did not come from a lot, but through her own initiative, through her own persistence, through her own hard work, has created one of the most admirable companies, not just in Kenya, but in Africa as a whole.
We are grateful to Zawadi Africa for inviting us here. We've learned that as women, the challenges that face us we can really solve them if we are truly determined.
Yes, we can! Yes, we must! And yes, we will!
Thank you.